Mountain News this morning. An off-duty sheriff's deputy made an arrest on Christmas Day at his own home. And one man remembers the life of another who was killed on Christmas Eve in Rowan County.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Welcome to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Neela Green here with you on this Tuesday, December 30th. The time is now 5:32, and let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmel for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, it's Tuesday. We're almost halfway through the week.
We are. We're almost halfway through the week, right?
Yeah.
You know what we can say is we're almost done with this year. I mean, tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and unfortunately, we have a cold couple of hours before we get to the last day of the year. So let's break that down, starting off with those current temperatures and a mixture of the low 20s. However, as you travel into Virginia, we're looking at some upper teens, 18 degrees in Clintwood, 16 in Wise, and those feels like temperatures are even colder as those winds are still on the gusty side. And in terms of those temperatures this afternoon, not going to see too much relief. Only the low 30s take over for the warmest parts of the day. Again, it is going to be very cold all day long. And then as we look towards satellite and radar, just a little bit of flurries still hanging on to that forecast this morning. But in the next little bit, we'll start to see that clear itself out. And we're looking at partly cloudy skies in the morning, mostly sunny skies as we head into the afternoon, with cloud cover reemerging as we're heading into the late evening and as we head into the last day of the year. So here's a look at that breakdown of that 12-hour forecast. Again, high temperatures in the low 30s. Neely.
Thank you, Megan. One Magoffin County Sheriff's deputy made a holiday arrest without even leaving his home after he says an intruder crashed into his Christmas. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has the details.
Tyler Lafferty says it all started with a mistake he never expected to make.
Christmas Eve, the night before, we had set out some reindeer food for our kids out on the front porch. So, the next morning, Christmas morning, the kids woke up about 10 o'clock, 10:30, somewhere around there. And, the first thing they done was run out the front door to check out the reindeer food. It being Christmas morning, I just didn't think to, lock the door back.
Leading to a moment he will never forget.
Then I heard Lafferty. Hey, Lafferty. I was like, what the heck is that? What was that? Who is that? Here comes my 5-year-old daughter and my 10-year-old son running to the bedroom saying, Daddy, there's a man in the house. So I get up, and sure enough, right there he was.
Lafferty says he was able to get the man, later identified as Timmy McKenzie, out of his home and place him under arrest. The deputy claims McKenzie then began resisting, claiming he was affiliated with the U.S. Marshals Service and the Kentucky State Police.
And you could tell even when I first seen him standing in the living room, I could tell that he was there's something wrong with him. He was under the influence of something. He was not in the right state of mind. There was something up with him.
After what Lafferty called a brief physical struggle, the man was detained and taken to the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center.
Everyone's good. Kids were a little, they were in shock, kind of traumatized there at first, but they're fine. Everybody's fine.
Lafferty says though his family was safe, the situation was unexpected and unforgettable.
Especially in these small towns, usually know everybody. And you think, I don't have to lock my door at, 2 o'clock in the day. But that just, goes to show you that, it's probably a good idea just to make sure that your doors are always secured, because you never know what's going to happen.
In Magoffin County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
McKenzie is charged with public intoxication of a controlled substance, burglary, menacing, resisting arrest, and criminal trespassing. Police in Laurel County are looking for a burglary suspect. Here's a picture provided by the sheriff's office. They say the burglary is in regards to stolen property that occurred at Parkway Market around 2 a.m. That's off of Kentucky 638. Police say if you have any information about the case, contact the sheriff's office at 606-864-6600. We are learning more about a Rowan County man killed on Christmas Eve. The coroner says 39-year-old Christian Mayberry was shot outside a home off Christie Creek Road in Moorhead. Jesse Creekmore, one of Mayberry's friends, says he was recovering from addiction. Creekmore says he did something a lot of those who struggle with addiction strive for, and that is to beat it.
When he had a mess up, I mean like when he wouldn't relapse, but he knew where the solution was. He'd show back up in the rooms.
Friends of Mayberry say they are frustrated that no one has been charged for his death. Kentucky State Police tell us they will take their findings to a grand jury for consideration. A 13-year-old Kentucky girl who went missing for more than 2 months was finally found on Friday. Winter Wagner was reported missing out of Rockcastle County on October 14th. She was found hundreds of miles away in Montgomery County, Maryland, near Washington, D.C. Police found Winter with a 37-year-old Christian Delgado. The past 2 months have been gut-wrenching for Winter's family. Johnny Miller, Winter's cousin, says they don't have family in Maryland and were shocked that that's where she was with a 37-year-old.
Your mind immediately goes to how vulnerable she was. You think about how young she is and how someone so much older could take advantage of that. It makes your stomach drop. It's something no family wants to hear, and it's something that stays with you.
Christian Delgado was in court yesterday for kidnapping charges related to this case. It's still unclear when Delgado will be extradited here to Kentucky. The father of the Kentucky State University student killed in a shooting is now in jail. According to our sister station out of Evansville, Indiana, they say records showed there was a warrant out for Dijon Fox in Vanderburgh County for not showing up to court last Friday. Fox, as well as Chardonnay Cleveland, are accused of making online threats towards Jacob Bard of Evansville. A grand jury declined to indict Bard, who claims he was trying to protect his family. The London City Council will have a special meeting today. Most of their agenda features veto overrides for ordinances passed earlier this month. Mayor Weddle claimed one of those ordinances would force him to fire dozens of city employees once the new year starts. Today's meeting will be hosted at the Laurel County Fiscal Court. It will start at noon. A new bridge on Kentucky Route 52 is expected to reopening after originally being announced for November. The bridge is located on the Estill-Madison County line. Kentucky transportation officials say bad weather delayed constructions. Both lanes of the bridge are scheduled to reopen today, depending on availability of temporary striping, but the area will remain a work zone until the spring. According to the CDC, seasonal flu activity continues to rise throughout the country, and health officials in eastern Kentucky say they have seen it firsthand. The most common symptoms include coughing, congestion, a sore throat, or a runny nose. Officials with primary care centers of eastern Kentucky say depending on if you have flu A or flu B can mean other symptoms.
So with flu A, we're seeing a lot of like high fevers, dehydration. Flu B, we're seeing more fatigue, but both of them, you're having basically the same symptoms. But the biggest thing I think I'm seeing is fevers, and then like a few weeks later, the biggest thing is if you don't treat your flu, I'm seeing a lot of pneumonia.
Health officials say you should stay at home if you feel sick or have a fever, and of course wash your hands thoroughly to prevent the spread of illnesses. In 2026, the federal government is sending $50 billion to 50 states to improve rural health care. Rural communities are less likely to have access to emergency and specialty care compared to urban communities. The $50 billion comes as Medicaid cuts amplify rural health challenges. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator Dr. Mehep Oz says states understand their own needs best.
It's designed to allow you to right-size the system, to push and catalyze needed change, to empower governors and other state leaders to do the things they probably wanted to do anyway, but now they have the money to do it.
Oz says he anticipates states will use some of the money to update their technology and information systems. The Kentucky Blood Center says they're in desperate need of blood donations this week. They're in critical need of O positive and O negative blood. That means they have less than half day's worth of blood supply. They're also low on A negative blood. The blood center says even though the current demand for blood is normal, they haven't gotten as many donations because of the holidays. Leaders say they're already playing catch up, and another holiday week for New Year's could make things even more challenging. And you can help by donating at the WYMT Winter Blood Drive on Monday, January 5th. The KBC Bloodmobile will be in front of the station from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. that day. All donors will receive a limited edition KBC hoodie while supplies last. The holidays aren't always the most wonderful time of the year. For many Americans, it's a time of isolation. According to a recent study from the AARP, 40% of adults aged 45 and older struggle with loneliness, and men have higher rates of feeling lonely than women. Mental health experts attribute the loneliness epidemic to a me versus we culture and a fear of coming across as needy.
We're afraid to be vulnerable. We're afraid to ask for help. We think of it as a sign of weakness. Hyper-reliance, self-reliance, individualism at the expense of community is at the crux of it. Time management, attention management. We're living in the attention economy, right? So I think all of these things push us to figure it out yourself.
Loneliness is an even bigger health concern for seniors. Research shows social isolation significantly increases the risk of dementia, heart disease, depression, strokes, and premature death. 19 years later, Malcolm is still stuck in the middle of his family's dysfunction. We'll have those details in a look of today's Eye on Entertainment report.
And temperatures will be very cold today, but don't worry, we're going to see some warmth later this week.